You are tuned in to your dose of positivity. Shout out to the channel members if you want to gain further support, like the after show, the book club, and the empowerment conference. Join my channel membership. I am Marlene Motivates. And as I always say, just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? I am Marlene of Marlene Motivates, your channel for motivation, inspiration, and positivity. I thank you so much for joining. If you're new here, subscribe to this channel. I would love for you to become a part of the Motivators family. So welcome to each and every one of you. Happy Friday to everyone. And let me see who is in the chat. I see first in we have Miss Tracy. Hi, Miss Tracy. How are you doing? Happy Friday. And hey, Miss Tamika, how are you doing? Welcome in. Hey, Miss Nexie, how are you doing? Welcome in. Hey there, Gio. How are you doing? Friends with Super Channels, welcome in. Everybody, if you could please hit the like and share this out before we get started here. Okay, everybody. Today, of course, is Friday, so you know that means it's Relationship Friday. And we're going to be talking about a Relationship Friday topic. And today's topic is you can't make them like you or love you. You can't make them. Now, how many people, how many of us, I can't see you, But it takes honesty, like we do over here. How many of us try to force people to love us by doing kind deeds, by doing things that's disrespectful, or wasting your time, your effort, or your money, thinking that maybe you could buy friendships, or maybe you could buy their love, when you can't make somebody do something they don't want to do. Unless somebody wants to love you, or if somebody wants to like you, they will. You can't make anybody do anything that they don't want to do. People will not change unless they are actually ready to and want to. So I felt like this was going to be a very important conversation, because ultimately, when we talk about relationships, the most important relationship that you can ever have in life is the relationship that you have with yourself. Until you learn how to love yourself, every other relationship will be affected. Until you know how to love you, everything else is irrelevant. You got to first know how to love yourself before you can know how to be good in other relationships. And until you know how to work those relationships in the right way, you're going to be miserable. You'll be very unhappy until you learn how to love yourself. And yes, Gio, you're more than welcome to put as much emojis as you would like. I really appreciate it. You guys can put as much emojis as you want to. So let's start this topic. The first point that I have of that you can't make them love you is you got to know yourself. And now, in talking about you can't make people like you or love you, you have to know if certain people, if they're even a good match for you, when it comes to a romantic relationship. Or you also have to know if a person is a good friend. For you to be able to choose and select good people, you first have to be good. You have to know yourself. You have to know what you're about, what you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes people come in our life to get us off track, off focus, to try to use us, to manipulate us, or to try to just break you down. Some people, unfortunately, come to break our spirit. And I find that to be so sad, but we have to know ourselves, and we have to know our own power. You have to know your own energy. You have to know what you're capable of, and you have to believe in yourself. Know yourself and loving yourself. That's key to every other relationship. Until you know yourself and love yourself, you're never going to be good enough to find a good relationship, because until you know that you deserve great things, until you know your potential, until you know your talents and your gifts, and you feel good about yourself, you will always continuously select negative, evil, angry people, because that's what you are. You're going to be attracted to or be in relationships with people who are just like you. And until you learn how to be good on your own and good to yourself, you're always going to select people who are going to be negative, who will hurt you, because it's what you are allowing for yourself. So once you get in that relationship with yourself and get to know who you are, know what you deserve, know what you're capable of, everything will be different. So when it comes to our relationships with others, when it comes to who we choose to be in a relationship with, who we choose to be friends with, how we allow our friends and our family to treat us and talk to us, and what we will do for others is based on how we know ourselves, how we believe in our potential, and how we allow ourselves to be treated. Because one thing that I had to learn when it was coming to your self awareness, we allow people to treat us in a negative way. We allow people to be disrespectful to us. And we may not really get it, because I know for many, many years, I was allowing friends, I was allowing family members or people in a relationship to treat me any kind of way that they wanted to treat me. And it wasn't a good thing. So Until we learn how to treat ourselves, we're going to put up with continuous foolishness. And I don't want that for any of you. I don't want that for myself, and I don't want that for you. And when we talk about, we can't make somebody like us or love ourselves, that is all dependent on how do we love ourselves. Now, when I was going to therapy and I had my mentor, and my mentor was telling me that you're going to choose who loves you based on how much you love yourself. And for me at the time, it didn't make any sense, but now it makes perfect sense. You're always going to select people to fill in gaps or missing pieces or parts of you that is not whole, things that you have not put the work inside of yourself. Until you put work inside of yourself to know yourself and love yourself and fill up your own cup and know that you are good all on your own, you're always going to select people who will try to manipulate you or use you. If you don't love yourself, you're going to choose somebody also that doesn't love yourself. And I didn't realize that before. I didn't realize that if I didn't love myself, I was going to select people who didn't love themselves either, or people who were unhealed and had, you know, basically you're trauma bonding with them. And that's not the best thing in the world at all, to be in relationships with people who don't know and love themselves yet. Until you get to be healed within your own self, within your own heart, you will always select people who are unhealed as well. So when I learned how to love myself, when I learned that I was enough and I was deserving and I'm capable and I could do great things, that's when I was going to select people who loved themselves and they showed it by their actions. Hey, Miss Tracy, how are you doing? Welcome in. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Yeah, and that's one thing, everybody. I want to put that out in the atmosphere and say that to every single one of you. Learn to love yourself better. Hold on one second, everybody. My allergies are really bad today. Learn to love yourself. Learn to love yourself fiercely. You have to know yourself and love yourself first before you can give love to others. Okay. And when we talk about not everybody likes you or loves you, it goes back to you. Not everybody that we like or we love deserves to be in our life. Now, this is one that I have to get really close so that you all can very much pay attention to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Not everybody that you know of, not everybody that you love, not everybody that you care for deserves to be in your life. Many times we select people to be in our life that aren't good for us. We select people who aren't good for us because we don't feel good about ourselves. And until you learn to feel good about yourself, you heal your own wounds, you heal your past, you're always going to be selecting just anybody that comes along, anybody who says the right words, because you're very easily manipulated. But once you work on yourself and you know who you are, what you're capable of, what you deserve, your thoughts, your abilities, your talents, and your gifts, you will realize that not everybody deserves to be in your life. Not everybody deserves to be a part of your team. They don't deserve your heart. Many times we give our heart away so easily to others just because of the words that we say or because we're settling. And I like to say that especially to those of you who are seeking a healthy romantic relationship, don't settle. Don't settle for just anybody. You have to have certain standards. Don't settle for anything or anyone. Make sure you are keeping to what you believe in, keeping with your values, so that at the end of the day, you know that you have your own integrity. And for me, I know that I have my own morals, and I'm proud of myself for the way that I choose to walk. And not everybody deserves you, what you stand for, what you believe in. If you believe that you are a bright beam of light, if you believe that you're quite the catch, you're doing everything that you need to be able to have the life that you want. You can't just let anybody come in your life, anybody be on your team, anybody talk to you and telling everybody your business. No, not everybody deserves you. Not everybody deserves your time, your energy, and your effort. We have to be very careful about that. Very, very careful. And in getting back to this and talking about you can't make them like you or love you, first, I have to say that for many years, probably since we were in elementary school, you remember, who is old enough to remember back in the day when they used to pass a note and say, "Do you like me? Yes or no?" That still applies today, because many times we'll give our heart to people, we'll have all of these feelings for people, and we don't even know them, or we'll like people who don't like us back. And we have to stop giving our heart, our effort, our money, and our time to things that are not good for us. Come on, everybody. This is Relationship Friday. Let's talk about this. You can't make people like you and love you. You can't make people support you. You can't make people be understanding. That's a quality, that's a personality thing. you know that's a thing of maturity. There are some individuals that are just not mature enough. They just have not grown up enough yet. And that's not our issue. That's not our problem. We don't have to sit and wait for them to mature. We don't have to sit and wait for them to be what we need. No, no, we're not doing that. You need to be in relationships with people who are on your level or higher. Don't downgrade. Don't settle. Don't just pick up anybody anyhow. Anybody who says that they're your friend, anybody who wants to be in a relationship with you, anybody who claims that they like you. No, no, we're not doing that. Before you get involved with friendships and relationships with people, first, you got to spend time by yourself. Am I in a good space? Am I even ready for a relationship? No matter what the relationship, no, even if it's just a friend, sometimes you just need to be by yourself and working on yourself, working on your own choices, your own actions, working on your independence, your self-love, your self-compassion, healing your heart. Sometimes you need a break from everything and everyone so that you can be okay. So when you show up, you're quite the catch. You're actually a gift. We can be a gift and a blessing to others if we take enough time to pause and wait so that we can be able to bring something to the table. And a lot of times people will be looking for people in a relationship, but they don't possess what they're asking for. You're asking for people to have money, asking for people to look a certain way. You're asking for people to have all of these things. But then the same thing, you have to ask yourself, how is my health? Is my health good? Am I in a good state financially? Am I emotionally mature? Do I love myself? Or am I looking for a relationship to fill in all of those things that I'm talking about? See, I know for sure I was angry when I came to the realization that a person couldn't fill in what I needed them to fill in. See, sometimes when we leave a relationship, we leave one relationship and jump to the next before we heal our hearts, whether it's a friend, whether it's a romantic interest. We must work on ourselves and be okay first before we're going and selecting someone to be in a romantic or a friend relationship. So you can't make people like you. You can't make people do right by you. Hey, Glenda, how are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Good morning to you. Thank you so much. Happy, I think it's Saturday to you. Happy Saturday to you, Miss Glenda. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can't make people love you. And I so wish that, the all the ladies, all the gentlemen would really come to that realization that you can't make somebody love you. You can't make somebody change. You can't make somebody treat you the right way. You can't make somebody support you. You can't make somebody into something that you want them to be. And I did that for many years, sitting and waiting for someone to be what I wanted them to be for me. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. You have to be in the position first to know yourself and love yourself. You got to like yourself first. You must be your own friend. That's not optional. We're going to start there in this discussion. First, you got to be your own friend. You got to like your own self first before you're thinking about friends and family and other people. A lot of people, they go through their life and they're always in this big crowd of people, right? They're always in this crowd of people, and they it's all to get ourselves off of a focus. Most of us stay in a big crowd of people, whether it's your friends, your family, or relationships, just because we want them to get us to not think about our situations or our problems, or we're waiting for them to give us the love that we want. Nobody can give you the love that you have to possess first for yourself. First, you got to possess love for yourself. First, you have to be your own friend. And that's for sure. And for me, that was a life lesson that I had to learn. I had to learn how to love me. And until I learned how to love me, all other relationships come after the love that you have for yourself. Right? I was in the situation, it stressed me out. If it don't fit, don't force it. Listen, Miss Tracy, that's a real thing. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. So don't force it, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a friendship, whatever relationship, if it's not working, it's not working. Don't try to force it. Okay? Don't force it. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, because all you're going to do is cause yourself pain, aggravation, and stress. And sometimes it will cause you to lose financially, because you'll be supporting them and giving them money and giving them your time and giving them your effort. And it's all a waste. It's all a waste, because they don't care about you. They care nothing about you. All it is a using thing. They were just there to use you. But we must learn to love ourselves and know that not everyone deserves you. Not everyone deserves your friendship. Not everybody deserves your time. Not everybody deserves the effort of, even thinking about, just the thoughts. Not everybody does. I have one more point, and then we're going to open up the chat to the audience. Okay. This is the last point that I have right here. Let me pull it up. Everybody, respect goes both ways. Now, I know that we usually talk about how important it is. Men are usually the ones that they really want respect. They want to be respected. And I don't blame them. Who wouldn't want to be respected? But also, we have to understand that respect goes both ways. You cannot expect to be respected when you are a disrespectful individual, when you're rude, when you're not compassionate, when you don't think about others, when you lack patience. All of those things. Respect goes into many other areas. To get respect, you have to be kind. You have to be a good listener. You have to be compassionate, understanding, loving. And those are some of the qualities that many people don't have these days. People are always shouting, I want respect, I want respect, but they are disrespectful. How are you going to expect to be respected? You can't. I'm not giving respect to somebody who is rude or screaming or angry and demanding, or especially, I'm not going to give respect to somebody who is controlling. That doesn't make any sense. You want to control my time? No, we're not doing that. We're not little kids. No, I'm not a little kid. And I talked about that on a previous live, that there's a lot of little girls and little boys running around that are trapped in a woman's body or a man's body. So just because a person appears to be an adult, appears to be grown, it does not mean that they're mature. See, maturity comes with time, maturity comes with experience, and it's something that you have to learn. You have to be very self aware. You have to be aware of who you are, of what you are, of who you belong to, and knowing yourself and loving yourself. Because when you know yourself and when you love yourself, you know how to be a friend, you know how to be compassionate, you know how to be understanding, you know how to stick to your word, you know how to be consistent. All of that goes under the umbrella of respect. And whether it's on social media, whether it's in your business, the workplace, with a friend, whether with a family, respect goes both ways. And if somebody is finding that they're feeling disrespected, you do have to ask yourself a question. Am I disrespectful? Did I do something to be able to receive this treatment? And be honest with yourself. I know that many times I don't want to be honest with myself, but sometimes I could have been, was I very short tempered? Was I rude? Was I ignoring them? Was I not listening to them? Was there something that I did? And that's what you do when you are a mature individual. You're able to see your flaws and to receive them. You know how to be accountable. And I think that's one of the things that we learn as we mature, as we become more grown and come into our own, that it's nothing wrong with saying, I made a mistake. I didn't do the right thing, or that was unkind. Like sometimes, immediately after you do something, you're like, I should not have done that. And then you apologize. But it's about apologizing sincerely, not just saying you're sorry repeatedly, but changing the actions, changing the behavior. Because if we don't change the behavior, then people will say, though, they're always sorry. And then that becomes annoying. We can't always just say sorry or make all of these excuses to why we're not doing what we should do. Everybody deserves to get respect, to be considered. And especially in this microwave society where everybody is in a rush, respect and patience goes together. I can't respect somebody who is always, they want their way all the time. Hurry up, hurry. I want what I want. That's annoying. I don't know who else is that your pet peeve as well, but that's my biggest pet peeve, when somebody's always rushing you to do something for them, but when for you, but when it comes to them, you take your time. You're very patient with them, but they lack patience for you. It's some food for thought, right? It's something that we have to meditate on when we are asking people to be respectful of us. Do we respect them? Are we respectful of their boundaries? Are we kind? Are we compassionate? Do we possess emotional maturity? Are we thinking about how they feel as well? Yes, how we feel is important, but how other people feel is important as well. And when you're mature, you can say, that doesn't make sense to me, or I don't like that. But I can have the ability to allow someone to have their opinion and allow me to have mine without being rude and disrespectful. Let's see what's going on in the comment section. No, I'm not talking about you, Miss Tracy. Definitely not talking about you. I would never do that. Yes, respect. It does. It goes both ways, 100%. I do have the link there in the chat for anybody who is open to come up and add to this conversation. And we are talking about you can't make them like you. I know I spent the majority of my youth until my early 20s, I could even say early 30s, um, trying to force people to stay in my life, trying to force people to stick around. And that is exhausting. You cannot make people stick around in your life. Let's end all of that. Let's end trying to force people to stick around. Let's try stop trying to say people love us when they actually don't. Love is an action word. Love is an action word. And if somebody is not proving by their actions that they love you, then throw it out. It doesn't matter how much you say you love somebody if you're rude, you're disrespectful, you're mean, you're very impatient. No. You see, when you love somebody, you'll wait. If you love somebody, you will be understanding. If you love somebody, you will have compassion for them for what they need. It's not about you. You got to learn to take yourself outside of it. And I've learned that as the older that I'm getting, I'm learning to be more and more patient, not only with myself, but also learning to be patient with others. If we are not patient with others, will they be patient with you? It goes on both sides. Tracy, it's like she is inside our head. I'm inside your head too, Miss Nexie. Let's see what Miss Nexie is saying. Oh, Miss Tracy is saying, Not meant like that. It's just what I had going on. It's all good." Oh, okay. Okay, Miss Tracy. Yeah, one of the things that I am learning as I'm getting older is, don't force anything. Don't force business deals. Don't force collaborations. Don't force phone calls. Don't force romantic relationships. Don't force nothing. If people don't want to call you, if people don't want to talk to you, if people don't want to spend time with you, if people don't want to buy you things and support you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, leave them alone. I'm going to say this again. If people don't want to spend their time, their money, their energy, their spirit on you, leave them alone. We have to stop forcing people to talk to us, to spend time with us when they've already told us. They've already told us they don't care for us. They've already shown by their actions they're not into you, you know? And they've made books about it. He's not into you. She's not into you. Okay? And people who say that they're your friends, but they're doing everything in the opposite direction of a friend. They don't even know how to be a friend to themselves, much less a friend to you. So I see Miss Nexie in the background. Let's welcome her to the show.
Hello, Miss Marlene. How are you?
Hello, Miss Nexie.
At
Well,
least we're okay today. It's not going in and out. We're able to keep our internet on, our connections on.
yes.
Great topic, by the way. Um, you know, when you touch topics like this, or we discuss topics like this as a group, it's when my mind goes into, this is why it's so important to have self love. This is why it's so important for you to be your own best friend, for you to be your own love interest, love partner.
Mm-hmm.
Self love can guide you in a way that nobody else can do it, because You yourself are telling you what you're like, you don't like, what you can tolerate, and what you will not be able to tolerate anybody else doing to you. So it is important for us, and why we focus a lot on saying that is that we need self-love 100%. Before we can give love to anybody else, we need to love ourselves um, completely.
Yes, completely. And that's the thing is, many times, Miss Nexie, that you grow up. Some people from their childhood, they have never known anything about love. They've never known how to love themselves. For me, I know I learned how to love myself as an adult. I didn't know how to love myself as a child, and I believe that that's the reason why I made so many poor decisions, and felt so sad and felt so inadequate my entire life, until I finally stepped into not seeing my self-esteem or my worth inside of other people, but I carried my own self-esteem. I have my own beneficial things about me, and I think that that's where your happiness and your joy lies in knowing who you are, knowing your potential and your gifts, and then allowing yourself to use it. But if you're waiting for people in your life to love you, you'll always feel miserable.
You will be waiting forever. That's the whole
Mhm.
point. And it's not, it's actually more common for us to come to love ourselves first as adults. The majority of us grow up in houses where that is not thought, that is not the first thing that comes to mind. I have seen well-rounded families, where the children grow up to be very healthy minded adults because they have had the support, the encouragement, the peace of mind at home, the love between the parents at home. They have seen all of that growing up, so they have a very healthy mind. But not all of us get to be that, so, or live in a household like that. So we all learn to love ourselves as adults.
Mhm.
In rare cases you can do it as a child, but most of us, is why we make so many mistakes, is why we pick the wrong partners, is why we pick the wrong friends, it's why we stick around with the wrong family members, and it's because most of us are not taught that. So we have to, as adults, seek to get that into ourselves, that self-love that we need, the unconditional self-love, because we're going to make mistakes. Yes, we are going to pick the wrong partners. Yes, we are going to pick the wrong friends. Yes, we are
Mhm.
going to probably give too many chances to family members. Yes, but the point here
Mhm.
is that if you get to love yourself to the point on where you are first before anybody else, to be centered and in peace and clear minded, eventually you're going to be able to eliminate all of those things and
Yep.
be able to pick the right people, because this is the thing. A lot of us, like I said, surround ourselves with the wrong people. But if you love yourself, if you know yourself completely, you're going to be able to shake those people off of you and surround yourself with the support, the love, and the people that are like you,
Mhm.
and that love
That's
and respect you for who you are.
mhm. That's so true, Miss Nexie. I found that the best relationships that I've ever have had has been the ones that I've had as of late, just recently. That they'll say like, those are people who really care about you. They'll ask, how much water did you drink? When's the last time you went to your doctor? Because they're talking about things that is for you, not for them. And if you have people who really care about you and love you, that there is not every conversation is going to be about them. Some of it is going to be like, okay, you need to do this, and make sure you're getting a vacation, and and also speaking of your potential, encouraging you to use your gifts and your talents, not feeling intimidated or jealous of them.
Exactly. And you see a lot of us, once you become in tune with you, when you're like, your self-love is to the max, you
Mhm.
become friends with people just like you. Now for me, I tell this to my friends, people I consider my friends and my best friends. How I am, I always tell them, okay, can I be honest, or how are we feeling today? Or should I lie? Can I speak freely, or are we guarded today? Because
Mhm.
that's the only way you can allow that person to see that you have self-respect and that you have respect for them in return. Because you
Exactly.
cannot always speak your mind. That's a part of loving yourself, is that you have to ask the other person, can I speak freely, or do you think you're not in the mood right now to receive that? That's
Mhm.
self-respect and giving respect to that person that you care so much for. Because I know
Yeah.
myself, I'm not always open to listening to the truth. No, not today. Like, not right now. Not a good day.
Mhm.
So you have to understand and know those things.
Yeah. And that's one of those things, Miss Nexie, that I like to tell my friends when I'm having those days. I said, no, today I need the roses and sunshine. I'm not in the mood. Don't tell me about myself today. I need all the roses. I need all the accolades and the celebration, and tell me how wonderful I am. You can tell me tomorrow how awful I am. Not today.
You know the Yeah, and this is the thing though. A good friend, and a lot of people say this erroneously, because they say, a good friend doesn't criticize you, a good friend doesn't do those things. And I always correct them, because I'm a friend, I'm a good friend, and I always tell them, no, 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 hold on. A good friend criticizes you, but in a healthy and responsible way.
Right.
And I don't mean criticize you to put you down or anything. No, maybe criticizes something that you did, that it wasn't right, and brings it up to your attention as an adult, as a healthy minded adult.
Mhm.
That's a form of criticism. And say, friend, what were you thinking? Friend, what are you doing? That wasn't right. I don't think that's proper. So I always tell
Mhm.
people, a good friend does that. A not so good friend is the one that doesn't criticize you at all. It doesn't care
Right.
what happens in the process of you making certain mistakes that probably you don't see them as, but people are receiving them as, and they can cost you a lot more than you can gain. So a good friend does criticize you, but in a healthy way. A good friend
Yep.
does bring up certain things that you're not doing properly in a healthy way. It doesn't do it behind your back. It doesn't do it in second, kind of like, I'm talking to you, Gio, but it's Marlene's message I'm trying to send. No, that person
Yeah.
doesn't do it like that. It does it in a healthy, friendship kind of way.
Yep. It's one of those things that they call a backhanded compliment.
Ugh, yeah, I hate those.
Mm, I hate those. I hate those. And I wanted to acknowledge the comment from Alicia, where she said that yes, we've all been children, but not everyone got a childhood. And I can
Mm-hmm.
say yes, that everybody was a kid once, but not everybody got to have that childlike mystery and fun. Like some people had to grow up really fast and not really enjoy being a child. And I believe that that's one of the reasons why you have adults out here, playing with little race cars or playing video games or doing whatever because they're living out their past.
And it's what I said before. When your childhood hasn't been as great as it could have been. It's why I always say, adulthood is, the period of life that you spend overcoming your childhood, because we all have the not so perfect childhood. We all have maybe fears, maybe traumas, maybe things that our families didn't know how to handle, right? And
Mhm.
so that toughens you up in a certain way. Doesn't mean that it's a healthy way. It just means that it toughens you up in a certain way. So you learn to live life and live with whatever life gives you, but without actually being in a healthy life, in a healthy relationship with yourself. So adulthood, when we have had a bad childhood, is just that. We spend it trying to reconcile what happened and overcoming it. That's why
Yeah,
therapy is so important.
it is. It is so important. And one of the things that I wanted to say why I wanted to have this discussion and talk about it is because I don't want to see, we're already in 2024, and for many many years, we can be grown, but we can be that little girl or little boy trapped in a woman's or a man's body. But it takes us stepping up to the plate and looking at ourselves in the mirror, and to actually be honest with ourselves. What do I need to work on? What do I need to improve inside of me, instead of expecting that from another person? And I honestly didn't like my own responses. I was dependent on other people to celebrate me. I was depending on other people to give me the accolades and tell me how smart I was, or how beautiful, how intelligent I was, when I had to learn how to be my own friend. I had to learn first how to like myself before I could be liked by others. That was a really big lesson for me. Until I learned how to like myself, until I saw my own potential, it was some of the reasons why I could never start and finish tasks, because I how are you going to be consistent if you don't believe in yourself to be consistent? I believe that's, you put your why behind consistency.
Hmm.
If I don't know my why, if I don't believe in that why, that's the reason I can get all excited about something, and then the fire goes out because you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, and a lot of people. I remember when my children were growing up. I come from a large Hispanic family. And I remember a lot of times when I used to celebrate the smallest, achievements, like the spelling bee contest, or they got a great score on one of their little second grade math tests. And I used to celebrate and put it on the fridge, and add an extra little star to the one the teacher already added. People sometimes will say, "Aren't you overdoing it?" Like, seriously, it's just second
Mhm.
grade test. And I say, no, 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 I'm not. You kids have to grow up with confidence. They have to grow up confident that they can conquer the world no matter what. The only people that can give it to this little child right now is us parents. Nobody else can. So it's up to us to make sure that whatever it is that the child needs at this moment, it's given, so that this little person doesn't grow up the way we grew up, doesn't grow up doubting herself or himself, doesn't grow up seeking this
Exactly.
reassurance elsewhere and getting burned, getting hurt, getting who knows what from other people. So we need to reassure them. We need to make sure that they feel that we are proud, that we love them, that they're doing a great job, regardless of how easy or how hard the task is, because that's the only way children are going to continue to strive for to be best, to bring that praise on them, to make sure they're doing good, encouragement. And it has to start when they're very little. Unfortunately, with us, it never even got brought up, let alone started.
Yeah. That was something that, if you, I know it sounds like something weird or strange, but when I was growing up, if you wanted to talk about, uh, didn't I do good? In the interpretation from my family was, you're trying to show off, or you're trying to seek prominence, like, oh, you need to learn to humble yourself, like it's not all about you, you're so selfish. When don't you see you have all these other brothers and sisters? And it was like, and I used to be like so confused. I was like, why is it selfish? Like me telling you that I did good at something, or I accomplished something. It was never to where like, oh, you did a good job. No, it was never,
Mm-hmm.
you did a good
Yeah.
job. It was always, yeah, that's okay, but look what your brother or sister did. So there was like
Mm.
this competition, like we were always at each other, and I think that that's a
So
horrible
unhealthy.
way. Yeah, very unhealthy way to raise your child, in my opinion.
Of course, it is our humble opinion, right? And we're speaking from experience. We're not speaking from somebody else's. We're speaking our experiences. We're speaking of what has happened to us because of our upbringing. You know, that the mountains that we have had to climb to get out of, our childhoods, to get out of our pain and our sorrow and our doubts and everything that happened from then. And that's the thing. When I read your title, I was like, ooh, that's very interesting. Yes. Well, let's do this thing. It is something that we don't need to compare our children. Of course, as they get older, they can compete with each other, like, oh no, I'm gonna go there first, you'll see, blah blah blah, but that's between them. But as parents, you can't do that. Although now they always say, oh mom, there's your favorite child, when one of my kids arrives, and I said, oh my god, thank god it's out in the open, because he's always been my favorite child. I'm glad you guys are okay with knowing that.
Yeah.
But growing up, I couldn't, like, you don't make those distinctions. You don't put your kids against each other, because
You
it's
shouldn't.
unhealthy, and you create a lot more harm. Because a lot of parents, I've seen, not a lot, but I've seen several families, especially back home, where they like to praise the one child because they think that that's gonna put a little fire on the other child to do good or whatever. And that's not a smart way to do things. Everybody's different. You praising this one and putting the other one, okay, whatever you do, it's whatever you do, doesn't necessarily mean that this little one is gonna get fired up and say, I'm gonna do better than my sibling. It might resent his sibling. It might not create a harmonious relationship between the two, instead of what you think it's going to create. So we have to be very careful when it comes to that, because if we don't, Marlene, we have to have these topics growing up. You know what I mean? We have
Yeah.
to keep on going through this. We need to get a lot of therapy. We need to go through a lot of hardships that I feel that, if we had been um, raised the proper way, and there's nothing about our parents. I'm not taking anything, I'm not throwing rocks at them. I'm just saying, because every child is different, right? I've said this to you before. Um, but if we were raised, in a different way, we probably would have not been, or gone through the hard roads that we have had to.
Yeah. Everything would have been different if you would have gotten the support that you actually needed and deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've said many a times, is that some people don't know how to give you what they didn't possess. So yes, they probably should have treated you that way, but how can a person love you if they don't love themselves? A person can only operate where they are vibrating.
And and that's the thing, though. That's why when I saw the title, I was like, yes, this is amazing. This is perfect. Because a lot of times, Marlene, when we grow up um, in households where our emotional needs, our how can I put it, are not met, or are not even acknowledged. We grow
Yeah.
up to sometimes attach to people that give us a little bit more love and a little bit more attention than our parents did. We stick around with those unhealthy people. We get into relationship and stay in relationships that are not healthy, but because they gave us that small amount of attention, the small
Just
amount of additional love, friendship, or a romantic relationship, it doesn't matter what, either one can be as damaging as the other, right? And as dangerous as the other. So we stick around people that don't want us, don't like us, and that we probably deep inside wouldn't pick and wouldn't like, but we keep them because we have gotten that little bit of love and attention that we wish we would have had when we were little, right?
mm-hmm.
We wish we would
Yeah.
have had that, kind of upbringing. So sometimes we get into, some form of DV with people emotionally, physically, spiritually, because it can
Yep.
be all of the above or one of the
Yes.
above. You know, we get into those relationships because we haven't had the attention that we probably needed when we were little. And I don't like when parents make this um treating everybody the same emotionally. Not every one of your children is the same.
Mm-mm.
Everybody's gonna have to have a little bit more of you. Everybody's gonna need, you a little bit more than the other. If your eldest is independent and he only needs a pat in the back, or she only needs a hey, a little tap in the head, you're doing great, that's your eldest. That doesn't mean that the rest that follow is all that they're going to need.
Yeah. And you
And
know what? You know
I'm sorry, go ahead.
one thing that is a little annoying that I hate when when parents will say, "Why can't you be like this one or that one?"
Because I'm not this one or that one.
Yes, exactly. And it seems so simple, but I've seen many parents do that where they will make a comparison with one child to the other. Oh, why can't you be good at math? Or why can't you be good at sports? Or why can't you do this like them? Don't do that.
Why can't you just sit down and be quiet like your brother? Because I'm not my brother.
Mhm.
Why are you climbing trees all the time and falling half of the time? What is wrong with you? Why can't you be like your, cousin? She's not like that. Yeah, because I'm not her. I like to climb trees. We all go through that, and that's the thing. Like, we develop this unhealthy relationships if we get older because we haven't had the attention that we needed, that we individually needed. Because there's parents that love all of us. Yes, they do. They care, they love, they work hard and everything, but the one-on-one is never there.
Never.
Exactly. So that is the thing, that the eldest might have not needed it. Maybe they were okay. The middle child, maybe a little bit more attention with you, but maybe your last or your second last needed it more than the others because there was a lot more competition before them. So we cannot treat all of our kids the same. I have 4 kids. Everybody is different. I know which one needs more than the other. I know when they need space. I know their faces when they're not happy,
Yep.
when they're upset. I know their faces when they're worried. I know when they're ready to tell me something, and I know when to leave them alone and
Yep.
wait until they're ready to say something. As a parent, you brought him into this world, and I'm not criticizing parents.
Yep.
I'm just talking about my experience as a parent, because I had to do this. I had to flip my childhood around, and thank God I had already, started therapy, and that actually worked
Mhm.
wonders for me because it helped me. But I had to unlearn everything that I had learned around me and bring my children in a different format, in a different way. And I'm not saying I didn't make mistakes, because that would be very hypocritical of me to say. We
Right.
all make mistakes with our children. That's how we learn. The thing
We
is,
all.
when you make those mistakes, you apologize and you learn to not make them again.
Mhm.
You know what I
And,
mean?
and that's one of
Not
the reasons.
continually go there.
And that's one of
Yeah,
the
go on, Miss
reasons
Brenda.
and that's one of the reasons why it's so important to ask, have conversations, communicate with your children and ask them what they personally need, not what we think that they need, because sometimes you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing so awesome." Like, right? You think you're doing so awesome as a parent, and they'll be like, you don't do this, you don't do this, you don't do that." And you're like, so you feel some type of way, but important for us to be open and honest in all relationships, because everybody can um, do some more personal growth in all their relationships.
Yeah, we all can. And the thing is, again, as parents, we are going to make mistakes because we're dealing with another human being. What worked for one or worked for us is not going to work for that child. You're even going to look at him and say, are you sure they didn't change them in the hospital? I mean, they probably gave me the wrong kid. Whose kid is this one? Because it's so different from the other two that you have, or the other three that you have. But we cannot expect all of our children, because they live in the same household with the same parents, to be the same. It's not a cookie cutter, type of family. We have to understand and try to understand, because like I said, we all make mistakes. We all have had those. But in order for us to avoid our children maybe ending up with, in an abusive friendship, or in a not so healthy romantic relationship, or friendship, we have to make sure that we're feeding them the right kind of attention, love, and praise and respect. We have to make sure, because otherwise, like I said before, they're gonna get attached like we had to not healthy people, because we're so in need of so much love, so much attention, so much praise. So, if we don't do that as they're small, they're gonna try to, when they get older, they're gonna get away from you and be on these unhealthy relationships. We have to be careful. We have to make sure that, we don't make the same mistakes our parents did. We're gonna make others, yeah, of course. That's how we learn, right? But we have to make sure that we're doing a better job that our parents did.
Yeah, and that's the thing, when we were speaking about personal growth, that a lot of us have been scarred from our childhood,
Mm-hmm.
because just that's just how they were, because how it was back in the day. Let's be honest. They didn't talk about things. They didn't communicate about things. They didn't think those things were important, because for them, the most important thing was just a roof over your head and food to eat, and that was enough. But we understand now that more is involved in a healthy child, or to make a healthy adult, is communication, is a spiritual connection, and getting to know them. What do they want? What do they need? What are they good at? And what do they want to do with their lives, not what we want them to do with their life.
Exactly. And that is so, well said. It has nothing to do with us. And I think that's where sometimes that's
Mhm.
where the mistakes that I was saying earlier as parents that we make. We want our kids, because we like certain things, we would love for them to like what we like, or go, through the same um work, right, that we do. Oh my God, you will be so good in what I do, blah, blah. We want to guide them in that way. And you have to make sure that you take a step back and say, wait a minute, what am I
Mhm.
doing? That doesn't necessarily mean she's probably good, she's great, she's my kid, that's why I think she's so amazing, or he's so amazing. That doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily mean that it's going to be a good fit for her, my type of
Yep.
job.
Yep.
You know
You
what
have
I
to
mean?
you have to remember that it's their life as well. That's what I have to remind myself too, not just with children, but also with a spouse, or your relatives, or your friends. We want sometimes to fix certain situations because we love them, and we can see what could be good for them, but it's not necessarily what they want. So, we have to take our hands off the wheel and just let them live their life and do what they like. That's a part of respecting others, is allowing them to be themselves, and even sometimes to make bad decisions, and just be there, like, I know that that's not good. I know that this going to be a mess, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to let them. It's like,
Yeah.
just go with you.
Yeah, exactly, Marie. And that's one of the hardest thing you have to do as a parent. As they get older, you have to let go, like you said, of the training wheels. You have to, whether they're gonna go crash a mile from your household, or 10 miles from it. It doesn't matter. Maybe they're gonna ride smoothly and everything you thought of them is gonna be great. But when you're seeing that they're not really doing what you think it's gonna be, like, oh my God, in a few years you're gonna regret this move. You know, this decision is going to cost you so much more than what you're thinking right now. But
Mhm.
you have to let it go and let him, you know, have, even if they come back later on and say, you know what, I messed up, you were right. You do your I told you so dance in the bathroom by yourself. You know, you do that little dance. Yeah, I told you so.
Yeah.
Not in front of them, because you know that's how when you put like that doubt on them, you have to allow them to make the mistakes, because we were allowed to do the same thing. You know, and I
We
knew as my
were allowed
with
to.
my father, same thing. I'm sorry, Miss Marlene.
Oh, no, no. I was just
Go on.
agreeing. No, I was just agreeing
Oh,
with you.
okay. Yeah, because with our parents allowed us to make those mistakes. Of course, they weren't as gracious as you and I are probably going to be with our kids, right? They threw it on our face. I told you, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell her? You remember when I told her? And everybody finds out that you made that mistake. The same what she told.
Yep.
So
And you had to hear from you had to hear when your mom or your dad or whoever would tell everybody, all their friends. So when you made a mistake, everybody in your
and that
neighbors.
cousin,
Yeah.
Marlene, and that cousin from Australia texts you, emails you, calls you. Hey, cuz, I heard from my aunt so and so that told so and so that you made that. Oh my God, my auntie was saying that she told you not to do. You're like, how do you know? You live in Australia.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that, you know, I think back in the day, because their generation was not of the such to get involved in communication. That wasn't important. They weren't talking about those things. But as life has gone on, we found out what is really important to make healthy adults. And some things make me feel uncomfortable. Like, even though I talk about communication all the time, sometimes I don't feel like communicating. I want to be by myself and isolate, but I know that that's not the best way. You know, we sometimes go backwards a little bit and then we have to get back on track. And that's where having good friends and family and good people around us, like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? What's going on with you? And if you have those people in
Mm-hmm.
place, you don't go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly. If you have people, that are in place for you that say, hey, no, 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 that
Mhm.
wasn't right. No, I don't think that's something good that you should be talking about. Or wait, I don't think that job is going to be for you. Call it out in a respectful way. Say, hey, I don't think that's good for you, because I remember when you were depressed, or I remember when you went through all of this with that other job. So when you have good people around you, they're going to be able to do that. They're going to be able to tell you, remember this, or be careful with that. That's part of being a friend. Being a friend is not agreeing on everything your friend, all the mistakes that your friend
Mhm.
is making. Being a good friend and a best friend is making sure that your friend doesn't make those mistakes, making sure that the friend is healthy, that your friend is mental health and body, it's completely good. You have to make sure that that person is going the right way, the right path.
Right.
Yeah, I know that our parents did those things, because back then, Marlene, I feel that embarrassing us in front of others, that was the right way to do things according to them. That's how they were brought up. So doing those things were the right way. That doesn't mean it is the right way, or that ever was. It's just that it's what happened back then. You were
Mhm.
embarrassed in front of everybody, and they will throw that on your face forever. So we have to learn from that. It didn't work with us, so what else can we do? And the same way we do with family, blood relationers, we gotta do
Mhm.
with friends, that even though they're not blood, we're consider them family. We have to make sure that we're honest with them, that we are on top of what they're doing for their best, to be their best self. That doesn't mean I
Exactly.
have to say yes to everything you do, and yes, it's awesome. No, I have to call you out from time to time, because that's what a good friend does.
Yes, that is what a good friend does. A good friend from time to time um will encourage you. Yes, that's very important. But also will say, what about this thing that you said you were gonna do? They're going to keep you on track. They're going to hold you accountable. But I thought you were going to
Mm-hmm.
go on with that. And
Yeah.
not to make you feel embarrassed, but to say it in a way like, how can I help you and support you so that you can make this happen?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And that's, again, when we stick with people that are not good for us, it's because we're still dealing in we're still in that stage of our life where we're still that little kid, that wasn't that was neglected, that wasn't really being encouraged and loved. So we have to make sure that friends or family have that that we didn't have. We already, we're on the process of making ourselves heal better, because we're in therapy, we're doing everything that is, that we can to make sure we're okay. But to those people that are not, we have to continue to make sure that we encourage them, that we protect them, that we love them, so that they don't end up with people that don't want them, don't like them, don't care for them, and are hurting them more.
Exactly, exactly, Miss Sexy. Um, I don't, hold on one second. I was just looking to see the time. I think that this would be probably a good time for us to go into our book club for members only. What do you think, Miss Nexie?
I will say, how about what about in 15 minutes? Is that okay?
Okay, sure, sure, sure. We'll
Okay.
um we'll we'll
But
we'll do that.
let's get over there. Yeah, let's go over there. But let's not start it until 15 minutes from now.
Sure.
Yay.
Sure, no problem. I wanted to also say thank you so much for everything that you added for this discussion because, I come up with ideas and I think about things, but your ideas are really awesome and I really do appreciate you. And also, what is said in the audience, what Alicia said, and Miss Tracy, and Tamika, and Gio. Uh, I have some awesome motivated people. And I know that everybody has been through something. And I know that everybody has had people in their life that has not liked them or loved them the way that they deserve. And I want you all to know that you don't have to settle. You don't have to force people to like you. And most of the time, it doesn't work out, anyways. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Work out the way that we want sometimes, but it's for the best for us. So thank you so much, Miss Nexie. Any final
Thank
words?
you for, no, just thank you for having me, Miss Marlene, and just continue to bring on this, wonderful topics that, help us become our better self. To continue to bring up awareness on the areas that we got to focus on the people that we have to first focus on, which is us. Continue to bring those great topics, and continue to let me come up on the panel. Just saying.
Always, always, Miss Nexie. Thank you so much. And to everybody in the audience, keep being your best and doing your best, and never let any relationship, no matter who it is, whether it's your parents, your siblings, your friends, your romantic interests, a job, never let people manipulate you or use you or treat you in an inferior way. You deserve the best, and have that self awareness, have that self confidence, have that self love. Be your own friend. Respect yourself, but also respect other people and their thoughts and their ideas. Uh, it's a two-way street. Respect goes on both sides. So thank y'all so much for joining me today, and to everybody who joined me live. Thank you all so much. And to everybody in the replay, thank you so much, replay motivators. I really do appreciate every single one of you. And to all of my members, I will see you all at I'll say 6:40 or 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to start the book club. So head on over there, members. I look forward to talking about this amazing book And yeah, all of those things. And I will see you all back on, what did I say, Friday. I'll see you back on Monday for the Motivated Podcast at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, all of those things. I appreciate everybody. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. And don't forget to check out the Motivated Dailies that are uploaded at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And check out everybody who is in the audience. You know, I am an advocate for supporting other great content creators. So if you see somebody in the chat that you know, and you go over to their channel and it vibes with you, subscribe to that channel. We all need support from one another. I thank you so much. Shout out to my members. Shout out to my moderators. Thank you so much for working hard for my channel. And I will see you guys on the next one. And you know what we say over here on Marlene Motivates. Just know it. Just breathe it. And be it. And live your best life. I will see you guys on Monday to my public motivators, but I'll see you guys in a few minutes to my members. Bye-bye, everybody.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Forgive me, I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you? I forgive me, I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you? Ooh, hey, yeah.